In China, in 859 AD, after 241 years of prosperity, the Tang dynasty was in decline. Apparently, the emperor is weak and incompetent, which is why the corrupt emperor's influence has decreased and he no longer controls the land. Unrest sweeps across the country, and several rebel groups are established, the largest and most proficient of which is the House of Flying Daggers. Based on the Feng Qian territory, the faction battles the corrupt government by stealing from the rich to help the poor, gaining high favor from the locals. But at the same time, they were feared and hated by their bitter rivals, the local deputies. Its highly skilled members use special throwing daggers that always hit their targets. It is then revealed that the leader of the House of Flying Daggers has been recently killed, but the group continues to thrive. After the soldiers head out for patrolling, two captains in the local deputies district, Leo and Jin, discuss how they are ordered by their superiors to find and kill the new leader of the House of Flying Daggers within 10 days. However, the task seems impossible since the group is successful in its secrecy. Captain Jin claims it took them 3 months to assassinate their old leader. Eventually, they follow a tip that members of the House of Flying Daggers frequently visit a brothel called the Peony Pavilion. Leo claims that one of the showgirls is the prime suspect, and to confirm whether she's a member of the group, Jin goes to the brothel as a customer. There, he initially engages in chatter and a playful game of tug-of-war with the crowd of young beauties, after which he is introduced to a new dancer named Mei, a blind girl. To make sure she's actually blind, Jin asks her several questions while constantly drinking. In a drunken state, he runs his sword across her body before removing her gown. Jin then orders her to dance for him. Soon, several girls playing various musical instruments enter the hall, and Mei not only dances, but also sings beautifully. Once she's done, Jin lunges at Mei and attempts to rip her clothes off. So while everyone is trying to save her, Leo shows up and threatens to arrest Jin and Mei for indecency. But the madam of the house begs Leo to spare Mei since she is a favorite of customers. Upon being asked why a blind girl is working as a showgirl, the owner claims Mei has exceptional dancing skills and asks him to watch her dance before he makes a decision. At Leo's request, Mei performs an elaborate dance called the Echo Game, which reaches a stunning climax when all of a sudden, Mei reveals herself to be a member of the House of Flying Daggers and challenges Leo with his own sword. The two engage in a fierce battle, though Mei is an impressive fighter despite her lack of sight. However, Leo eventually overpowers Mei and arrests her. Later, Mei is put through an interrogation and is threatened with torture, but she refuses to give out any information about the House of Flying Daggers. However, the soldiers find special throwing knives used by the secret society, which proves the girl's involvement in the House of Flying Daggers. Leo and Jin conclude that Mei must be the blind daughter of the Flying Daggers' old leader. In order to get more information out of her, they come up with a plan. At night, Jin infiltrates the prison and rescues Mei, claiming to be a rogue faction sympathizer named Wind for his views of freedom. He claims he wishes to escort her back to the headquarters of the House of Flying Daggers and returns her dagger pouch. Mei is unsure at first, but then agrees. Eventually, they set out into the wilderness when Mei suddenly gets the feeling that the soldiers are approaching. In their attempt to flee, Mei loses her dagger pouch. Jin rushes back to find it for her, leaving Mei alone in the middle of nowhere. In the meantime, local deputies, led by Leo, arrive at the scene and Mei senses their presence. Soon, Mei and Jin are ambushed by deputies. However, Jin uses his skills in archery to swiftly kill 4 men to save Mei, thus gaining Mei's trust. Just as the duo leaves the area, the 4 men stand up and pull out the arrows from their clothes, having staged the attack to support Jin's deceit. Jin and Mei continue their journey north. Mei claims that she will do anything to avenge her father's murder. Later, Jin gives Mei a change of clothes and promises not to take advantage of her. Mei washes up at a pond nearby, while Jin watches from a distance. However, just as he decides to leave, Mei calls him out, knowing that he was watching the entire time. Soon, the two end up having an intense makeout, but decide not to take things any further. At one point, while Mei was asleep, Jin sneaks away to secretly meet with Leo. They discuss how they have successfully fooled Mei. At the same time, Leo admits he is becoming worried that Jin is being taken by Mei's beauty and charm. Jim assures him, unconvincingly, that this is not the case, and returns to Mei. Later, upon a field of wildflowers, Jin gathers bunches of flowers for Mei and even puts one behind her ear. They begin to grow affectionate toward one another, though they both try to suppress their feelings. Moments later, two soldiers sneak up on the couple. Jin tries to fend them off by secretly explaining that he is on their side, but he quickly finds out they are not aware of Jin and Leo's plans. In the midst of this, one of the soldiers attacks Jin and he is forced to fight back. Mei intervenes and uses her flying daggers to help Jin finish off both of them. Soon, more soldiers arrive and Mei and Jin are forced to fight for their lives. As they struggle to fend the soldiers off, they're saved by the flying daggers of a mysterious benefactor and are then able to successfully defeat the remaining soldiers. Jin is genuinely confused by the attack and, sensing his sadness, Mei attempts to comfort him and tells him with a kiss. Concerned for his safety, she then tells him he has done enough and requests that he leave. Jin insists on staying. Later, Jin meets with Leo again and angrily asks why he and Mei were ambushed for real after they had agreed there would be no more fights. Leo tells him the soldiers that attacked were commanded by the general of the military, who has commanded that blood must be spilled in order to draw out the House of Flying Daggers. Jin is crushed when he realizes that his own life is considered collateral, and the two men argue over their respective duties. Leo warns Jin that if he doesn't kill them, they will kill him and offers him his quiver of arrows. However, Jin then storms off, telling Leo he quits the mission. When Jin returns, he finds Mei sitting next to a fire. Mei questions where he had gone, and the two end up arguing over Jin's loyalty. Mei asks Jin if he has any feelings for her, but Jin answers her vaguely. The argument ends with Mei riding off on her own. Before she leaves, Jin asks her if she's going back to the Flying Daggers, but Mei denies his claims. Jin considers leaving, but can't bring himself to abandon Mei. He chases after her as military soldiers close in. Mei is eventually trapped within a lush bamboo forest and, even when Jin arrives and fights to defend her, they are soon unable to defend themselves. At the last moment, members of the House of Flying Daggers show up to their rescue, and Jin is detained. At headquarters, Jin is brought before the leader of the house, Yi, who is none other than the madam from the Peony Pavilion, her undercover alias. Yi questions Jin on his loyalty to Mei and asks if he would consider marrying her. When Jin says yes, he is bound and treated like a prisoner. A captured Leo is brought in, and it appears as though the House of Flying Daggers were aware of their plan all along. Mei enters the room and reveals that she is, in fact, not blind. Devastated by this revelation, Jin questions her, and she states that she is simply one of the many girls within the group, not the daughter of the leader as previously assumed. Yi takes Leo outside and releases him from his bindings. She explains that she knows the previous leader of the house planted him as a mole in the government, and that the current leader, Nia, appreciates his and Mei's efforts. It is then revealed that Leo and Mei were lovers, and this mission has given them the opportunity to see each other again for the first time in 3 years. When they are reunited, Mei thanks him for saving her and Jin in the fields. Turns out it was his flying daggers that killed the soldiers. Just then, he tries to embrace her, but Mei is reluctant to reciprocate. He is angered that she, the woman he loves was made to seduce Jin, and he further suspects that it was not all an act to Mei. He questions how she could fall in love with someone in 3 days when he has been loyal to her for 3 years. When Mei doesn't answer, the truth becomes evident. Mei actually has feelings for Jin. Leo hopelessly tries to convince Mei that there is no future for her and Jin and tries to force himself upon her. As Mei struggles to push him away, a dagger flies into Leo's back. Nia appears and reprimands Leo for forcing himself on Mei before instructing him to return to his duties as a spy in the government. Nia then commands Mei to kill Jin, as he is no longer of any use to them. Soon, Mei takes Jin away to a field, but cannot bring herself to kill him. Instead, she sets him free and they embrace, making love passionately in the tall grass. Afterwards, she tells him he must leave, but he begs her to go with him. She says that it's impossible for them to be together, and that the next time they meet, one of them will have to die. Eventually, they part ways, but then they both change their minds and begin running toward one another. Before they can reach each other, a trick dagger flies out and pierces Mei in the chest. Leo approaches, distraught over her treachery, and confronts Jin when he arrives. Suddenly, faced with the truth about Leo, Jin engages him in a fierce and epic fight, one that disobeys the seasons. Suddenly, the atmosphere changes from a brilliant autumn to a cruel winter. As Jin is on the verge of defeat, Mei rises from the ground and tells Leo that, if he kills Jin, she will rip out the dagger from her chest and kill him with it. Jin begs Mei not to sacrifice herself, as the dagger is the only thing keeping her from bleeding out. Leo pretends to throw a dagger, and Mei draws the blade from her heart and throws it to intercept, but it only beats back a drop of blood from Leo's dagger. Having missed Leo entirely, the dagger lodges itself in a tree. Having lost too much blood, Mei smiles for the last time and falls to the ground. Jin rushes towards Mei and desperately tries to wake her up. Leo watches as Mei dies in Jin's arms. On her last breath, Mei tells Jin that he shouldn't have returned, to which Jin claims he came back for her. He then kisses his beloved for the last time, after which she falls into eternal sleep. With snow falling all around them, Jin sits there holding Mei's lifeless body in his arms, while Leo flees. With that being said, this is it for today's video. Thanks for watching.